Need a car now or plan to buy someday soon? Cars.com has nearly 2 million cars ready for home delivery. Set up virtual appointments with local dealers to tour your favorites. Save the car you want, click to buy when you're ready. Find your match on Cars.com.
We are hiring at Shane Company. We offer excellent pay and great benefits. If you value integrity and truly love helping people, apply online at shanko.com/careers. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business.
Culver's grilled or crispy chicken sandwiches and our much-loved spicy crispy chicken sandwich are made with the very best chicken. Well, how can you be sure? A blind taste test between Culver's and any other chicken sandwich. Note how one of the fillets is juicier and way more flavorful. Psst, that one's ours. Observe its tender, whole white meat goodness. Cooked golden to order. Every bite's so delicious. That's how chicken is supposed to taste.
Come to Culver's and leave the whole best tasting chicken anywhere thing to us. Welcome to Delicious.
Say you had the greatest job in the world, which everyone knows is crafting pumpkin fresh frozen custard desserts at Culver's. Here would be your typical day. Pour farm fresh dairy into the custard maker and run continuously all day. Add real pumpkin puree and pumpkin pie spice, then craft our pumpkin spice shake or salted caramel pumpkin concrete mixer. Yum! Serve with a great big pumpkin lovin' smile.
Just like that, pumpkin's back at Culver's, but not for long. Welcome to Delicious.
Fall has blown into the Twin Cities, and now is the perfect time to upgrade to a new Honda. Honda's award-winning lineup of versatile and dependable SUVs offer the ideal mix of comfort, convenience, and sophistication. And with available all-wheel drive, you can make the most out of every journey with the 3-row Pilot, which I drive, the versatile HR-V, or the adventure-ready CR-V, now available in hybrid. View offers across Honda's entire award-winning lineup online at GreaterTwinCitiesHondaDealers.com or visit your local Honda dealer today.
Vikings post-game coverage continues now with Vikings Overtime on FM 100.3 KFAN, Twin Cities News Talk AM 1130 and the Fan Radio Network. Vikings Overtime is presented by Transportation Plus. Now, with more post-game comments about the Vikings game, here's the Fans Eric Nordquist, AJ Mansour, and Paul Lambert.
Third down and 11. Lawrence forced to scramble. Now throws, has two receivers open. And a Clemson touchdown. Justin Ross. 30-yard touchdown, and the Tigers lead for the first time today on their first score. Beautiful job of that to make an accurate throw.
Your Minnesota Vikings lose 40-23 to the now 1-5 Atlanta Falcons. 40-23. Matt Ryan, who everyone ripped coming into this game, who Charch basically said was horrible all season, 30 of 40, 371, and 4 touchdowns.
He had a really good game.
He was unbelievable. Hello, AJ. Hello, Nordo.
Hi.
Let's pretend that we have a time machine. Okay? 24 hours from right now, will there be changes to that Minnesota Vikings team? AJ?
24 hours from now, will there be? Well, I think there has to be changes. The bye week throws in a weird situation where it's probably would behoove you to make changes sooner rather than later and let whoever is moving into whatever position that might be acclimate themselves a little bit. I think there should be. I don't think that there will be.
Should be in what regard?
Again, we've talked about this with the respect to the future quarterback of this team, Nordo, before future draft picks. There needs to be change.
So what does change mean, though?
Oh, I mean, I think that it could go all the way to the top. I think it could go up to Zimmer.
So Zimmer should be fired, you think?
If the season continues on the trajectory that it is, you end up with 3 wins. Yes, I'm going to say that.
So then, but if it's going to happen, then you think you should be fired tomorrow?
I think that you can start to find things out with him, with the current decision makers out of the picture that you couldn't if they were there. If that makes sense. Different aspects, different looks, different opportunities for different players. You're not. It's a weird situation because you owe these guys. You just signed both your all three, your quarterback, your coach, and your GM 2 extensions this year. You got a lot of money locked up. One of them impacts the salary cap in a negative way. We'll probably talk about that later. But I think that it is going to result at the end of the year in a change. And I don't know that there's any salvaging that. So I'm more of a make the decision now and start learning before you, while you still can, I guess.
Okay. I can't predict. So I mean, I wish I had a time machine. I mean, in some ways, I wish we could maybe go back a ways and maybe make some different choices a year or two prior. But see, the tough thing, Kirk was just so bad today. I mean, there's no explanation for it. Kirk was just absolutely pitiful.
He was horrible.
And
horrible.
And so, for me, and we've done a bunch of joking around and all that, and I'm not offended by it. There's a lot of people, tank for Trevor. I root for the team to win every game. What I saw today was embarrassing, and in some ways, well, not in some ways, in all ways, just absolutely unacceptable of a team that played with a team that plays with no pulse, no urgency, no inspiration. With an opportunity, on one end, you come back and you're down from being 1 yard from improving to 2-3 and beating Seattle on the road, one of the best teams in the NFL. You come home and you just limp your way to mediocrity, more disappointment, and 1-5, I believe, at this stage, despite the fact that Tampa is just crushing Aaron Rodgers today, is a hole that you're not going to come back from. Extra wild card, whatever. So playoffs are probably out of the equation. And so to the point you guys make when you talk about looking at a quarterback in the draft, the difficult thing for the Vikings right now is that there's nothing exciting about Nate Stanley, Jake Browning. The one thing that this team hasn't done, which offers the allure of a top pick in next year's draft, is developing a high-end, highly touted, equity-based college quarterback before the 7th freaking round. And we take Teddy. It doesn't work out because of the injury. Maybe in some ways we're wishing we would have kept him around following the 2017. Ponder was a disaster. Our inability to develop at that position has been hideous. So if you're pissed at Kirk and you say, get on the bench, brother, well, it's Sean Mannion.
Right. Yeah.
Sean Mannion. That
doesn't do anything.
The only thing I've ever heard about Sean Mannion, and this one, and I respect the Vikings coaches. We've seen so many good things in the past from this particular staff. I might respect what they say, but I don't agree with everything they say. I don't care that Sean Mannion is good in the quarterback's room. I don't care that he's good at sitting on the bench with the Microsoft Surface.
Yeah.
And after something happens, Kirk can sit down with him and they can go through it together.
Which is ridiculous.
I don't care about that.
He's just cheap.
I need a guy in line. I need somebody that can step in via injury and offer you some semblance of competition on the field. And Sean Mannion, there's a reason he's a backup.
Right.
And apparently it's just because he's really good at holding a clipboard.
Well, and in my mind, those quotes that we've heard that they supplement Kirk in the study room are simply excuses to support the decision to choose Kirk over whoever it may have been.
And so when you're looking at that though, my point is you can't bench Kirk for Mannion.
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
Right.
So I don't know. And when Zimmer speaks, I assume he speaks at 2 tomorrow before they go to the bye week and whatnot. I don't know what exactly that schedule is this week. But when he speaks, I don't anticipate hearing that, that they have moved to Sean Mannion. So, but yeah, I hear a lot of people clamoring. I'm not ready to say that Mike Zimmer should be fired. I can't do that. And I can't, and then even stepping above to Rick Spielman and those things, this defense, the kids are not getting good enough yet. I think you have a lot of excuses when it comes to injuries with Danielle Hunter and Anthony Barr when you look at this season in totality. But in terms of today, there are no excuses other than a passionless team that just got their asses beat at home. And now, by the way, they have tied a franchise record for the most consecutive home losses in Vikings history.
Really?
Yeah, it's 5 straight home L's, 66/67. They lost 5 straight in 2011. And then if you count week 16 and 17 last year,
right, yeah.
And then the first 3 this year, so the next time they could lose their 6th in a row in a few weeks when Detroit comes to town. So just terrible and awful.
Yeah,
today.
this looked like a team that had been like they gave everything they could last Sunday. That's what this team looks like. That all the effort they had and everything that they could muster up, they gave last Sunday night.
You mean like if they
looked
get that
like
game, then they're back on the horse?
Yeah, I mean it looks like that. Yeah, that the best shot that they've had and the best that I think they played from a first half standpoint last Sunday against Seattle was the best that they have played in a long time.
Sure.
I mean they don't play well against Seattle or Russell Wilson except for that one game, but it was whatever. But the other thing, too, though, is they came out today, they take the ball, and they went 3 and out, didn't they, to start the game?
No.
It was the interception.
We didn't even get to that point.
Yeah, the first play is an interception on an awful pass by Kirk Cousins. This team is so unmotivated
the weird
to
thing
play that I wouldn't be shocked if Mike Zimmer is fired by the end of the bye week.
I am glad,
if not tomorrow.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Just going back to the basics of it.
Like you're going to make a huge statement. They never take the ball, and they probably thought all week, hey, this Atlanta team is awful on defense. This Atlanta team gets carved up against everybody they play. We're going to go, 5 wide. We're going to run play action, whatever they did, and we're going to throw a freaking interception. And then you got like 3rd and long, and you're running play action. You're running play action down, 35-10? What the hell are you doing?
Well, they're running.
This team is so horribly coached.
Yeah.
Everything about this team is bad. The only good thing that they have going for this team is Justin Jefferson, maybe, and Dalvin Cook and a couple of defensive players. The rest of this team is horse bleep. They're embarrassing. You should have put up 35 points against this Falcons team, and they're lucky that the Falcons suck, or they would have marched down the field every time with their 3 corners that they had on the field. This is one of the worst losses they've ever had, and they made it look cute because the most overpaid quarterback in the NFL is excellent at garbage time. He should be embarrassed.
Well, nothing about that looked cute.
But
that's not fooling anybody.
But that's what he does. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns,
statistically speaking,
343 yards. Statistically speaking, he looked fine. He should be embarrassed. They should have gotten destroyed. But they
did get destroyed.
But you know what, Mike? It should have been way worse on paper. But
they didn't watch the game.
You mean like they should have put up 60 or something?
They should have gotten
killed.
Score. They should have gotten killed. But
like Clemson,
they're just
Georgia
awful.
Tech
That would have been. That would have been. My point is they didn't lose 40-23 to Baltimore. They lost 40-23 to a team that had lost their head coach, didn't have a practice because of COVID.
Yeah.
This is if I own the team, I fire Mike Zimmer immediately. They laid an egg, and they had no reason to.
They did.
Atlanta gives up. This team didn't know how to recover a damn onside kick, and you lose to this team. They should fire Mike Zimmer immediately. That's all I got.
I'm glad you mentioned it. It was one thing I noticed early that as much trouble as they had offensively earlier in the season through the first 2 games, we started to see, okay, Kubiak's, we're figuring this out, and,
sure.
and the rhythm is there, and the points were coming.
Little creativity was mixed in, yeah.
Yeah, they completely undid all of that at the start of this game, and starting with that, and I can't remember exactly what Zimmer's quote was. It was something like we wanted to go out there and take a shot right away or something like that, and taking a shot right away. Thielen was the option on that play downfield, and Kirk threw it right into the belly of hell, where Deion Jones didn't have to work for it at all. It was just an absolute gift. And so, and Zimmer saying we're never going to do that again. He couldn't be more pissed about Kirk.
That quote in the post game was great.
There's no doubt about it. I personally, and I know that Alexander Mattison is not Dalvin Cook, but there are enough similarities. He
had 26 yards.
He did, and he wasn't good enough today. Just like when we tried to make the Mike Boone thing happen against the Packers on Monday night last year.
Or was it 4th down and they're running Mike Boone?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
And
you're not. You have You got a 4th down play and you have to quick snap because you didn't get up to the line quick enough.
Yeah, and it would have been better to
in
take
an
a timeout.
empty, quiet stadium.
Sure. And the play called for Kyle Rudolph, who I love, he needed to get across the entire line to make a block.
Well,
make that play
How many
work.
times in the game, AJ, did we see them on like 3rd and 8 throw it 5 yards? How many times did we see them like 4th and 5, they throw it 2 yards to Beebe? Then on the one play,
no offense to Chad Beebe, he should not ever have, and he may have not have ended with it, but at one point he had more targets than Thielen.
Yeah, what are they doing?
He shouldn't be. He shouldn't be on the field.
No,
that's the answer.
The whole thing's hideous,
and it all points to the inconsistency that we've seen from Kirk, from this offense, from this team on both sides of the football. And that's the difference between a good team and a bad team is consistency. You know, there are teams that make the playoffs and compete on a week in and week out basis that aren't the most talented football teams on the field each week, but they stay in a game because they don't make mistakes, they don't shoot themselves in the foot, and they're going to play a clean game. And if you do that, you know, this is the NFL where they're all professionals. Any given Sunday, you've heard the terminology, you should be able to at least compete. And this team had no compete to them today.
Correct. Well, that 100% well said.
The toughest thing for all the Kirk haters out there, or maybe it's not a tough thing, is it's all guaranteed cash. I mean, it's not an
I'm
easy,
really starting to.
It's not an easy divorce.
Well, you have an answer to that, don't you?
Well, it's not. I mean, it's just that his 2022 salary becomes guaranteed on the 3rd league day of 2021, which would be next March. So that means that if you don't want Kirk to play for the team any longer, then you'd have to cut him and then just deal with that cap money before.
A lot of cap money.
That's in March. That's about like, what is it, $30-some million?
It's $31 million. It's $21 million next year, and then $10 million the year after that.
Ugh.
And so
I'm sorry. I think it's more than that. I think it's $41 million. Yeah. I think it's $41 million dead cap money next year, $10 million in that last year of the deal.
Now I know, Rob Brzezinski can work some magic. We love Rob. I mean, that's
at some point the magician runs out of tricks.
That's $40 million. However, you might have to make that move.
Yeah.
To save the 2022 cash, which then means 2021 is a very cash poor situation.
Right.
And so that presents significant difficulties for the Vikings into 2021. So the divorce isn't easy. There's no answers on the particular roster. And whether, you're quote unquote tanking or not, I just don't believe in it. I think these guys are going out there earning paychecks and trying to compete. You want a team that competes. I don't want a group of guys that are just going to wave the white flag in October and give up. But
many of them aren't going to be on this team next year because of free agency. So they're not going to ruin their career by playing deliberately poor and missing out on a contract next year.
And nobody's going to be as awful as the Jets.
Right.
I mean, that's
they're an embarrassment.
And so as embarrassing as the game was today, they're not as bad as the Jets are.
Nope.
And so the idea of being in that top 1 or 2 range seems impossible. So maybe it's tanking for Trey. Are you cool with Trey?
Trey.
You want to read about Trey Lance?
No, because he had one showcase game, and what did he do? Rush for 1 touchdown. It was horrible the rest of the game.
All right. Well, I'm throwing it out there because Trevor Lawrence ain't happening. So
no, because the Jets are. Clemson may beat the Jets. That's how bad they are.
Clemson actually, no, they can't.
No, it's just a good bit.
What worries me, Nordo, and I'm kind of piggybacking off your point there with the salary cap issues and how this is not going to be an instant fix. However you look at it, even if they were to get that number 1 pick and draft Trevor Lawrence. The attractiveness of this team. So we talk about, pipe dreams of a new coach coming in. And, one of the names that always comes up is Eric Bieniemy, coming from a very aggressive offense. That's the new age kind of style in Kansas City. This team, there's not much on this roster that when you compare it to some of the other jobs that are going to open up this year, that would be attractive to a new head coach. If they had choices to choose and they're the cat's meow, and they're making a choice. We're stuck on the salary cap. We're thin on offensive line, defensive line, potentially cornerbacks, potentially linebackers. You are stuck at the quarterback spot for however long, depending on whether you eat that money next year or not. there's a lot that you have to look at with this situation that kind of puts it as this is not an attractive landing spot for free agents in the future, for coaches in the future, outside of new stadiums and new facilities and all that. Like, they always talk about how that factors in. This team doesn't have a lot on paper to say outside of Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, to say like, come here and be part of this.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean,
what do you disagree with?
Well, the Browns have been conning people into. I mean, if people are getting their first head coaching job,
sure,
they're going to take that opportunity in most of those cases, because the idea is, and sometimes it's cliched, is how many times is this going to come around? And do I wait continue to go through?
Well, I'm not saying that you're gonna get the guy who passes on their first opportunity and decides to stay as a coordinator. But Eric Bieniemy is going to have 4 job offers at the end of this season, no matter what.
Well, I mean, if you're saying I want Eric Bieniemy,
which a lot of fans are,
and if he is going to have 4 job offers, I mean, you could pick apart. So who are the coaches that have been fired already? Is it just Dan Quinn? Who's
it's just Dan Quinn, right?
There's somebody before that.
So let me see. I mean, I'd have to look at their cap situation.
Well, Adam Gase is going to be fired.
37. Yeah. So us versus the Jets.
Sure.
I feel like the Vikings could win that conversation.
But if you have Trevor Lawrence in that mix, hitching your wagons to a once in a generation quarterback is a decision maker for a coach.
Sure.
Because if that works out, year 2, let's say.
Yeah, I'm not.
He shows that he can do something.
Yeah, I see what
you
you're
get free
saying,
agents.
but I mean, there's a lot of speculation. Bieniemy has equity because he used to be here in Minnesota.
For sure.
I mean, it's
a familiar name.
Looking at ownership,
right.
The Wilfs have proven that they're willing to spend money on anything and everything that they have been told might win them a championship.
Mm-hmm.
So the ownership's great. The facilities are great. There is a dearth of talent at this stage, specifically defensively. And so what I'm interested in, getting back to the original conversation of time machines, this, that, and the other thing, is moving forward, like how you're analyzing. You can make it a quicker fix, but that requires a bigger draconian style drop off, which means you're starting to trade players. I mean, if the change doesn't come in the form of coaches or otherwise, does it come in the form of transactions to open up cap to make a bigger splash in March? Or are you leveraging certain players that make certain dollars for draft picks, since you gave up the 2nd round pick for Yannick Ngakoue?
Right. Houston,
so you're already
fired a coach, by the way.
There.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So, yeah, look at, Bill O'Brien, Houston Texans, aging defense, interesting potential there on offense.
Great young quarterback.
Despite awful moves by the now former head coach and GM, and an offensive line that's big and slow and terrible. So, I'm sure people will break it down, the pros and cons of every team.
Right.
I like our franchise, and I like some of the pieces that we have here. If you have a healthy Danielle Hunter, if you have a healthy Anthony Barr, and maybe just one of these cornerbacks can show some life. So I like some of the pieces that we have. I hate the 1-5 record, and I'm not exactly pleased with what I've seen from the quarterback. So whether it's Bieniemy or whoever else, I guess they'll have difficult decisions to make if that. But again, we're talking about a hypothetical,
sure.
Without seeing anything moving. Mike Zimmer's our coach, and they all need to do better. And that's Zimmer, that's Kubiak, that's the whole bit. 1-5 is an absolute travesty with what we're supposed to have on this team, and that's really disappointing for the fan base.
The Minnesota Vikings lose 40-23. You think that's embarrassing? The Packers have been scored 10, and then Tampa scored 38 unanswered against them. Tampa is up 38.
Rodgers just getting
38-10, excuse me, on Green Bay. There's a minute and a half left in Tampa. When we come back, we'll talk more about the Vikings who lose 40-23. Matt Ryan, 30 of 40 for 4 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins throws 3 interceptions in the first half. Alexander Mattison runs for 26 yards. It's Vikings Overtime right here on The Fan.
It's Paul Allen. Know what the legendary Purple People Eaters and TimberTech decking have in common? A dominating defense. TimberTech has the durability to hold up against Minnesota weather for decades. Not only will it not rot, warp, or splinter like conventional wood, it looks more like wood than any composite brand. And with up to a 50-year warranty, you're protected season after season. Start designing the deck you've always wanted at TimberTech.com. Better tech, better deck. TimberTech, go against the grain.
Tired of searching for sports updates in different places? The Xfinity Sports Zone gives you the ultimate sports hub experience, where you can find games, news, and highlights all in one place right on your TV. Follow the teams you love across your favorite sports. You can even use the voice remote to access stats and scores. With the Xfinity Sports Zone, everybody wins. Now that's simple, easy, awesome. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store for details. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity TV service with X1.
Nordo here from my friends at Profile by Sanford. What up, AJ?
Hey, Nordo. Yeah, man, I'm thankful that football is back, but I'm even more thankful for Profile by Sanford. I've lost 53 pounds, and man, do I feel great.
Yeah, you look great, man. I've changed the way I eat and even how I think about food.
I have more energy, I'm sleeping better, and I feel better than I have in years.
What about the coaches, man? My Profile coach, they keep me accountable, encourage me every step of the way.
I definitely could not have done it on my own, so thank you, Profile.
To learn more about a profile near you, visit profileplan.com. That's profileplan.com.
America has reached a tipping point. We're being torn apart at the seams, right when we need to be more united than ever as Americans. Joe Biden is the only candidate who can bring us together to get our country moving again.
United, we can and will overcome this season of darkness in America. While I'll be a Democratic candidate, I will be an American president. That's the job of a president, to represent all of us, not just our base or our party.
Because only when we come together can we rebuild our economy the right way for working people. Biden's plan? No tax increases if you make under $400,000. Create 18 million new jobs. Higher wages. With ideas both parties can support.
This is not a partisan moment. This must be an American moment. I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
Barrero back with you for my friends at Bradshaw and Bryant. If you've been injured in a car accident, you need to go with the pros pro. Mike Bryant at Bradshaw and Bryant. Visit MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. That's MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up? We're here to help you get it done. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol GTX conventional motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $27.99. And with our next day delivery and free same-day store pickup, you can get it fast, your way. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
360 Painting in Minneapolis is once again reaching out to help a struggling veteran with a freshly painted home interior on Veterans Day. The event is called Hues for Heroes, and it's 360 Painting's way to give back and call attention to the needs of many of our local veterans. For more info, visit 360painting.com.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer WetJet. With Swiffer WetJet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer WetJet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
Your station for Skull is FM 100.3 KFAN. The Fan.
Cousins goes play action from under center. He'll whip one over the middle, intercepted immediately. First pass picked off Deion Jones. Burke with a straight drop. Passes intercepted at the 41. The second pick thrown by Kirk Cousins today. Cousins, straight drop, balls tipped, third pick. And it's the third interception today for Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins threw 3 interceptions. He was sacked once, but he did have 3 touchdowns and 343 yards, and your Minnesota Vikings lose 40-23. Justin Jefferson, 9 catches, 166 yards, and 2 touchdowns. We can say, for a lot of people who are on social media and a lot of people everywhere who are saying they got to either fire the head coach or fire the GM. I mean, there are a lot of people who, like Nordo and I, who didn't think Justin Jefferson would be there because we thought that Philly would take him and they didn't. That kid's an absolute monster with how good he is.
Now, seeing him come on is one of the silver linings of this season, the 1-5. I mean, obviously, had he been more involved in those first 2 games, we'd be talking about him even more. I mean, maybe he wasn't ready. Maybe he had to have those 2 games to kind of get acclimated. But now that he's going, now that he's doing what he's doing, it's impressive. And you have to kind of remember too, we get on Kirk for garbage time at the end of the game. A lot of Justin's production came in garbage time as well. And I don't know if it was second string cornerbacks or whatnot. For a rookie, though, you maybe give him the benefit of the doubt and say it's still good to see. Hopefully that boosts his confidence and he learned something, whether it was first string or second string.
But we heard during the game, Lieber basically talking about how in a game like you had today where you're blown out from right at the start of the second half, the game's out of hand basically, you see who plays hard. Justin Jefferson played hard.
Yeah.
And Nordo, as you and I talked about before the show started, man, that offensive line now with Ezra Cleveland playing right guard, what a disaster he was.
Yeah, he had a really bad second half. So, talent identification at 2 of the most crucial parts of this offense are good.
Yeah.
It's just
Sticking
not
out like a sore thumb.
It's not good. So with Ezra now, but here's the thing. First real reps, obviously, as a member of the NFL. Played left tackle his entire tenure at Boise State. Was thrust into the unfortunate position of replacing Samia at right guard. So I'm not willing to just say Ezra is going to be awful in the NFL now. But
you're not going to say Samia is better than Ezra.
There you go. You got it that time.
God, I screwed it up like 6 times.
I love that.
Starting. I'm like, Ezra is better than Cleveland.
So I was hoping that he would step on the field today, and a week from now we'd be saying nobody in the NFL is better than Ezra.
There you go.
But it's not the case.
No.
So Brian O'Neill just got pushed back a little bit today, but I still love Brian.
I can't believe
Reef has actually played pretty well.
I can't believe Atlanta only got 1 sack.
Yeah,
I thought they got more than that.
There's a lot of impacting the throws, and
You know why they only got 1 sack, Saucy?
Why?
It's because they're one of the worst defenses in the NFL.
Right.
And as much as we complain about the lack of interior thrust, somebody on Twitter pointed out, "Hey, Nordo, why don't you ever mention Michael Pierce?" Well, remember Michael Pierce? He opted out of the season.
Yeah.
Maybe he could have helped with some issues we have on our defensive line interior. Atlanta's defense is terrible, and they've been injury riddled. And I don't care that Keanu Neal's back in the mix and that rookie AJ Terrell is back from the COVID list. That is a defense that you exploit at every single level. And if taking a shot on the first play of the game offensively means throwing a clearly terribly planned pass to Justin Jefferson that was behind him in the first place, more or less Deion Jones just sitting there with a bib on and a knife and a freaking fork to take that thing. If that's what taking a shot is, then I agree with the head coach. We should never, ever do that again. So from the offensive line, not up to snuff. The guard issue, I mean, we could spend 10 more drafts drafting these guys in the 3rd round. We're excited. A year goes by, injuries or drop off. The 6th and 7th round picks don't matter. They never work out. We could have 10 more drafts, and we're not going to figure out the guard spot. So it's just that's where we're at right now, and I hope that Samia gets healthy and gets better. It's not too late for him to do that. I'd like to see Ezra at left tackle, maybe where he's been playing for his entire college career. But talent identification with this team, and it's cool to see guys playing late in these games and showing the effort that it matters to them, because it's a pride-based game, and those guys showed some pride. But garbage time clearly doesn't do it.
How have you not put it on Channel 4? Your boys.
That's what I was trying to say.
Tua is in,
but it was on commercial. It's freaking Tua time.
Yeah, Tua's in Miami.
Yes!
I would assume because they're okay. I didn't know how much time was left, but yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a much bigger deal.
You know what? I'm a big fan. So bad teams that play for their coach. The Miami Dolphins a year ago were an example of that, where they started out, I think they're
about to be 3-3, man.
They were 0-7, I think, to start the season, and then they won like 5 of their last 9 games. And they're just awful. I mean, just untalented. They've traded away. We know about them accumulating picks. It was gas mask guy, Laramie Tunsil, I think.
Yeah.
Wasn't that to Houston?
Yeah, they got a first.
Does Houston have a first-round pick for like the next 5 years or something like
I think Miami's got like 2 or 3 of them again in next year's draft.
But that's a team that plays hard for their coach. And I think
time out. Miami has Houston's first overall pick this year, which could be the second overall pick.
Well, at least it won't be a quarterback.
Yeah.
But here's why I'm pissed at Brian Flores. Give my guy Tua a start to a game. Let him make his day.
Right, yeah.
You give him the garbage time in a win over the Jets. He takes a snap. It was probably incomplete.
Well, for the first time in a long time, though, they have a division that they can compete in.
Yeah, that's a great
doubt.
point.
I mean, it's a different landscape there with New England the way it is.
Why don't we just do it right now? We'll go around the league when we come back. The Vikings lose 40-23. Alexander Madison, who's in for Dalvin Cook, runs for 26 yards. Justin Jefferson, 9 catches, 166 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Your Minnesota Vikings are 1-5 and 0-3 at home.
In business, things move quickly. You have to be ready to shift, pivot, adapt, then do it all over again. Comcast Business gives you fast, reliable internet on the nation's largest gig speed network. And now, ask how to get fast shipping with Amazon Business Prime Essentials. Wow, that was fast. So no matter what comes next, you can do more than bounce back. You can bounce forward. Offer ends 10/25/20. Restrictions apply. Requires qualifying Comcast Business service. New Amazon Business Prime Essential members only.
Nordo here from my friends at Profile by Sanford. What up, AJ?
Hey, Nordo. Yeah, man, I'm thankful that football is back, but I'm even more thankful for Profile by Sanford. I've lost 53 pounds, and man, do I feel great.
Yeah, you look great, man. I've changed the way I eat and even how I think about food.
I have more energy, I'm sleeping better, and I feel better than I have in years.
What about the coaches, man? My Profile coach, they keep me accountable, encourage me every step of the way.
I definitely could not have done it on my own, so thank you, Profile.
To learn more about a profile near you, visit profileplan.com. That's profileplan.com.
Fall has blown into the Twin Cities, and now is the perfect time to upgrade to a new Honda. Honda's award-winning lineup of versatile and dependable SUVs offer the ideal mix of comfort, convenience, and sophistication. And with available all-wheel drive, you can make the most out of every journey with the 3-row Pilot, which I drive, the versatile HRV, or the adventure-ready CRV, now available in hybrid. View offers across Honda's entire award-winning lineup online at GreaterTwinCitiesHondaDealers.com or visit your local Honda dealer today.
Barrero back with you for my friends at Smart Start MN. And they know that if you've lost your license because of a DWI, the process of getting back on the road can appear daunting, quite intimidating. Given how much is at stake for you, do not, as my good friend Joe Friedberg has told you, go with imitators. Go with the folks who can help you navigate these rough waters. Go with the folks who can get you back on the road legally and safely. See, Smart Start is the genuine article. The folks who were there at the beginning of the state's Ignition Interlock program, they helped create it. They know the ins and outs, can cut through the weeds to definitively and knowledgeably answer all of your questions. I say knowledgeably because if you call, the person answering was not just handed a phone, a cubicle, and a clipboard with canned answers. They're local, and they're carefully trained to respond to your particular circumstances, not to read from a script. Smart Start MN is run by lawyers who can provide the answers you need. They'll get you back on the road safely, responsibly. Go to smartstartmn.com. That's smartstartmn.com. You know it's looming. Barrero for Samaritan Tire with the perfect deal to get your vehicle ready for the ravages of winter. Now through October 27th, buy a new set of 4 Michelin passenger or light truck tires, and you'll get a $30, $50, or $70 reward card. Samaritan Tire, locally established for decades, they'll have you in and out in an hour with or without an appointment. Great locations, Minnetonka and Southdale in Edina.
See redemption form and qualifying tires eligible for the $30, $50, or $70 reward card offer. Offer expires October 27th. Void where prohibited. Free pickup and delivery of your car with any new tire purchase.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
Hi, I'm Brooke Burke. Do you ever consider just how important your feet are? They're quite literally the foundation of your body. And if you don't take care of them, you're asking for problems. That's why I wear Skechers' new Arch Fit shoes. Skechers teamed up with podiatrists to make a shoe that provides total foot and arch support. They use 20 years of data to design a podiatrist-certified insole that distributes support across the arch no matter what foot type you have, providing extreme comfort. Get Skechers' new Arch Fit at a Skechers store near you, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish shoes are sold.
Vikings football heard here. On FM 100.3 KFAN, The Fan.
Clemson leading 7-0. Lawrence walks in with the touchdown. Faked it to Lynn J. Dixon. And went around the left end for the second Clemson score of the night. It's 13-0.
What's happening, sports fans? Your Minnesota Vikings lose 40-23. Nordo, you and I were talking before the show about what they could possibly do with Kirk Cousins, and I floated off the air about 5 seconds ago. What about San Francisco? That was a rumored team that he was going to go to because who's the head coach?
Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan loves him.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
That's an option, right?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it is. If
in
they,
theory,
if they get rid of, if they were to cut Jimmy G by the beginning of it doesn't say exactly when his 2021 bid becomes guaranteed, but if they were to cut him, it would leave, I think, $2.8 million in cap space of dead cap. $2.8 million. So if they swallowed that and they wanted to give Kirk a go, that's certainly a possibility.
so let me play devil's advocate here. Why would San Francisco do that?
Well, I think the idea was, and I think it was even talked about before he was traded to the Vikings or signed with the Vikings, is that Shanahan loved him.
Okay.
Wanted to make a play for him. At one point, I think that would have been in 2018. I'd have to look back to when the Niners traded for Jimmy Garoppolo for that second round pick, because was it 2018 or 2017? At any rate, the fact is that Kyle Shanahan sung the praises of Kirk. And when he got the opportunity with the Niners, Kirk was a guy that he wanted with Washington at the time. But I believe it was John Lynch and company who made the move for Jimmy G before the opportunity to get Kirk arose.
To get the money to line up, though, I guess is what I'm saying. Why would San Francisco eat $41 million when they could just cut the 3 next year?
Well, they could easily just move away from Jimmy Garoppolo and then start fresh by drafting a quarterback of their own.
Yeah.
They look well on their way of going from worst to first.
Correct.
And back to worst.
Yeah, they're terrible, right?
Right. So, Kirk is not going to be the savior that gets them to the top of that division.
I think
they
make our team look healthy.
Next year.
They had 2 ACL injuries on their D line.
Bosa's out, and what's his face is out. Their other really
Solomon
good.
Thomas.
Yeah.
And then I don't think Richard Sherman's played. Like Akello Witherspoon and Emmanuel.
Yeah, they're really
they got some awful things going on there. But no, that's just a thing that could happen. Ultimately, the Vikings, they have to decide before it sounds like March 20th, and if they do that, then they can move on.
We talk about how Rob Brzezinski works things around to create cap space to sign other players or to do different moves, whatever that might be. For whatever team is interested in Kirk Cousins, this becomes a problem. The San Francisco presently only has $13 million of cap space for next season.
Yeah. And
as it stands right now, they couldn't trade for Kirk Cousins.
I think it's just a pipe.
They'd have to find a way to do something.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone.
But that's based on the $24.1 million. I assume that would be Jimmy G's salary under contract.
I don't think
that's still not enough. That's what I'm saying.
Him.
They still need $7 more million for that. I guess it's 31 and whatever. They still need more to do that.
We are not cap experts, and we will.
No one wants him. But who would want him?
Kirk?
Right.
No one.
It's damaged goods.
Yeah,
honestly.
no one would want him.
You
who on earth?
Glimpses of
the
greatness.
Jets might still want him.
Who?
The Jets.
Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot he almost went there. Let's go around the league. The Buccaneers are up 38
Man, this is so
to 10.
negative right now.
I know you hate it.
Like firing coaches.
They're bad,
This
dude.
is going to be the rest of the season, Nordo. You better get used to it.
They have this Sunday off.
Mother.
Then they go into Green Bay, who is going to be 4-1, and I don't know who they play next week. Doesn't matter. But let's say that Green Bay Packers team is 5-1.
Yeah.
Power Trip Bets, I guarantee, is listening. They might be double-digit dogs in Green Bay. That's how bad they are.
Yes, they will. Actually, I shouldn't say.
So what else do you want?
They won't be double digit.
Do you want us to talk about how great Kirk Cousins was in garbage time?
No. No, I'm just it's
so they'll be 5-1.
I can be frustrated that the team is terrible, Saucy. I don't need to
Embrace
put a bow
the
on
suck.
a pile of turds.
Just embrace it, Nordo.
I like those
Come
videos.
to the dark side.
That's what.
Come to the dark side.
Nordo, here, this will
That's
cheer
more,
you up.
that's more of a Halby
He's coming
thing.
off a big passing game against Syracuse. Going to go long right away. Has an open receiver. That's Higgins. He is into the end zone.
Yeah, but we're not going to get him.
Touchdown. 58
We can't get
yards.
him.
But
We can't get him.
we're back in the saddle, man.
We're back in the.
They win today, then the whole thing's off. There's certainly a shot.
Let's just say that I'm definitely going to be paying attention to how Lawrence plays and Big Ten.
No, I mean, he
season's
threw
kicking
5
off,
touchdowns
and,
in the first half yesterday.
You know, what is Justin Fields?
Yeah, how about that? We get to see him on Saturday. Anyhow.
Let's just say I'm going to be paying a lot more attention to quarterback play.
All right.
In college moving.
Titans 42, Texans 36 in overtime. Derrick Henry, 22 carries, 212 rushing yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Ripped off a 94-yard touchdown.
Unbelievable how good he was. He willed them to victory in overtime.
You know, I appreciate excuses when things aren't going
Tannehill
well.
threw 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, of course he did. Remember like 12 hours ago, we could be like, hey guys, we're 1-4, but you know what? We lost to the undefeated.
Well, if you were having that
Titans.
Conversation at 6 in the morning, you're weird.
You know, and I wake up early. Sorry.
Same.
I thought you did. You're on a morning show. Hey, you know, we lost to the Packers, who are really good. Hey, we lost to the Titans, who are really good.
Collectively, it was two losses in the teams that had beat us.
Shucks, we lost to Seattle, but man, it was sure nice to see the coach go for it on 4th and 1. And then we do what we do against one of the worst teams in the NFL. I mean, it's just, and the Titans are clearly good. That was a shootout today. They could have felt free to stop that Houston Texans offense once in a while, but good for them.
The Titans
They're
are
awesome.
5-0.
Yeah.
Colts 31, Bengals 27. Phillip Rivers threw 3 touchdowns.
That was another good back and forth.
Yeah,
game.
that was fun to watch.
I think the Bengals got out to was it 21-0?
I think so. Yeah,
Bengals were up 3 scores.
Yeah. So what a comeback by the Colts. The Bengals are 4-1. Colts are 4-2. How about this? Broncos 18. The Patriots 12. Drew Lock throws 2 picks and they still win.
It was McManus all day, right?
I guess. Were they all field goals?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Patriots 2-3.
The entire game was field goals?
Well, Cam Newton got a rushing touchdown.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
But on the other side.
Yeah,
it was all field
Broncos.
goals.
Yeah, Broncos moved to 2-3 and got Drew Lock back, who's not very good. Giants get their first win, 20-19. Both the Giants and Washington are 1-5. Daniel Jones ran for 74 yards. I didn't know that was his thing. That's a ton of yards.
I don't think it is. I think he ripped off a 49-yard designed run around the edge.
Sweet. Good for him.
That's cool.
Ravens 30, Eagles 28. Did you guys see that? They scored to go down they went for 2, and it was like the worst fake handoff, quarterback sneak, quarterback draw ever.
Yeah.
For Wentz. So they the Eagles are now
They were down by a ton.
Yeah,
though.
I think
to fight back into that game is something. There.
Yeah, they were down
22 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Let's just say if you may have had $100 on the plus 290 today for the Eagles to win, you were frustrated.
Yeah.
About that.
Sounds like.
Let's just say.
Ravens 4-1. How about this, man?
Embrace the suck.
Steelers 38.
I can't do it.
The Browns 7.
Yeah.
The Steelers are 5-0.
Sounds about right.
Claypool he had a rushing touchdown. He almost had like 2 more receiving touchdowns that they
He got
knocked him out at the
5 yard. Yeah.
He's so good. James Conner 101 and a touchdown. How about now? I wasn't paying that close attention to it, but they put our guy
Case Keenum
in. Yeah. Was that because they were down so much, or they just benched?
I heard it was
Baker.
Both. I heard they were down. He wasn't playing well, and there might
Baker
be an
threw
injury.
a pick 6
early. That was early though. Yeah,
but he just wasn't good today.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. Like, I think Stefanski not only is a good coach. There are probably Vikings.
Baker
fans
had 2 picks.
listening now that are like, man,
for sure there are.
Stefanski was in our building at one point,
right?
So was Case Keenum.
The biggest challenge for him, though, like he's going to have to deal with temperamental Baker,
who was just meat saucing it up and down the sideline, screaming at people who want to take a picture with him.
And then Odell is just like on a week to week.
He's handling it well.
So
right.
as happy as he was after the 3 touchdowns or whatever he had in Dallas, then they improved to 4-1 a week ago. You know, he probably was losing his mind and being a jerk again earlier today. So week to week in terms of the Browns' rise to stardom. But I'm rooting for Stefanski. That's cool. That's cool.
Don't look now, but the Chicago Bears are 5-1. They've won 3 on they're 3-0 on the road. They beat the Panthers 23-16. Man, Nick Foles was awful, but they still won. Teddy threw 2 picks. Wow, that's
Teddy
a 5-1 football team now, tied for the division because the Packers are about to lose. But man, 5-1 football team.
Yeah, good for them.
Lions 34, well. Jacksonville 16. DeAndre Swift 2 touchdowns, 116 yards. The Lions are 2-3. Jacksonville 1-5.
Jacksonville is kind of, well, no, they're not in a similar spot to the Vikings, but I'd actually say the Jacksonville Jaguars are kind of, how am I trying to go with this?
No idea.
Okay. Well, what my point is ultimately is when I look at the Jaguars, they're trying to make it work with a makeshift situation.
Yeah, because they got rid of everyone
at quarterback. And Gardner Minshew was kind of a cool story, and they could do Uncle Rico vignettes on ESPN. But when it comes to actually winning the games, it's hard to say if he's going to be able to do it long term. But I like, some of the additions they made defensively, but a guy like Gardner Minshew, and now, as much as it pains me to do it, the more and more I'm watching with Kirk these days is a lot of these guys in the NFL, they can win you games if the rest of the team is complete. So it's like when you look at Kirk needs the defense to be top 5.
Mm-hmm.
He needs everything healthy. He needs everything to be perfect. And then he can win you games. Like Kirk's not going to go down the field in the dying seconds of a game and do what Rodgers or Brady or those guys do. So in lieu of that, he needs to win the game in the second quarter. He needs to win the game in the third quarter. And when he's not doing that and the rest of the team is injured and incomplete as it is, you're 1-5.
Your Minnesota Vikings fall to 1-5 after a 40-23 loss to the now 1-5 Falcons. There could be a bunch of news tomorrow. We don't know, but if you need any of it, it'll be on KFAN.com. Thank you, AJ.
Yeah, thanks, Paul.
Nordo, thank you very much for pretending that you care about this bad football team.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you, everybody else. And we won't be back next week, but the week after that, the Minnesota Vikings will be in Lambeau after their week off, and we will have you covered there. Your Minnesota Vikings once again lose to the awful Falcons 40-23. Matt Ryan threw 4 touchdowns. And, of course, my Charge Challenge player had 6 points.